Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, it's the Tuesday before the 4th of July, which is June 30th. Happy birthday to my cousin Rusty, if he's listening. I was going to do a show today about Iran and all that business. I thought, no, let's talk about pleasant things today. Let's talk about what's good about this country. And one of the things that I've noticed is our visitors from Europe in particular for the World Cup have really shown me and shown a lot of us those small things that we should be grateful for, that we don't even think about. And I think that's a good conversation to have. And I hope y'all join me in it. If you like, you can put your questions there on the screen or whatnot, or your opinions or postings. And there's Mr. Ash. He's already there. Oh, that's from yesterday?
That was from yesterday.
He'll be on soon. He's pretty consistent. Well, anyway, we're going to just talk about the things that we don't even think about. And, the Europeans are, showing us, and the Japanese guests, and some of the Latin American guests are showing us, hey, things are pretty good here in some ways, a lot of ways. And I'm going to make some comparisons with other countries. I'm not going to compare the United States to, say, Sudan or Cambodia or countries that are notably behind us in so many different ways, economically and otherwise. But I'm going to, compare us to what we consider our peers. And when you do that, we're in pretty good shape, in a lot of ways. And we compare ourselves to the Chinese and we think they're about to come take over everything. They have significant issues that they're having a very difficult time to deal with, and they don't have the mechanisms to deal with it. So I'll get into all that. But before we get into all the heavy-duty stuff, we're going to talk about the sponsors. I'm going to show you a couple of clips also after the sponsors about what they see when they come to America. All right. Obviously, our place is a thing to be grateful for. I was there yesterday morning. Great breakfast as always. And it's a good place to go. And when you talk about things to be grateful for, one of the things the Europeans are stunned about are the portions. Now, of course, if you see us walking around, you see plenty of reasons why the portions are having their impact on American waistlines, but whatever. But you go in there, and I had an omelet yesterday. It was very good. I couldn't finish because it was just big, right? The idea of not being able to eat everything on your plate, that's a foreign concept. But I was stuffed at the end of that meal. But our place is a great place. And same with Gina's. I was there last night. I had the auto pub crawl, or whatever you want to call it. I was there with a couple of buddies, and we were talking about these things as well. And I'm watching the baseball game on one screen. I'm watching the soccer game on another screen. And we had pizza and beer, and it was, it's a great setting. And the kids are playing chess. Well, they're not all kids, but there's a lot of them. And Tina Michael was there kind of supervising. And it was just a very pleasant evening. So not only is the food good and the service good and all that, but it's a good place to hang out and enjoy yourself. Otto is attempting to make it Gina's into like a neighborhood pub kind of thing. And he's done a really good job of doing that. Also, my friend John Williams over at Old Pro Roofing, local folks. If you're going to get your roof inspected, get it done by local folks, not the guy you just talked to on the phone. 817-734-2756. And he'll come check your roof out for nothing, for free. And if you need something, he'll tell you. If you don't, he'll tell you that too. So they're not into the upsell. And I appreciate that a lot. I get tired of getting upsell. Don't you, Josh? It's like,
oh, ain't that the truth?
Well, you go in there, do you want fries with that? Hey, if I wanted fries, I would have said it. So, well, anyway. And so, there you go. Also, my friend Jeff Kelly over at the Wethington Agency, 817-781-0546, or Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com. If you really want to know what's going on in this area. Oops. I think that I hit the wrong reel there, buddy. Is this from yesterday? Have you sent the reels yet?
But I just did. Let me resend it.
No. See, I hit the wrong screen. I'm sitting there trying to do three things at once. Back to Jeff, who's paying for all this. You want to move into this area. You want to have somebody that knows this area. All these online things are wonderful, great, whatever. You want somebody that knows the neighborhoods, knows the lenders, knows the title people, whatever else. And Jeff rather, could do all those things for you. And it's a very pleasant day with Jeff, and John too. Why am I getting Jeff and John confused? Maybe it's the coffee. Maybe I'm too over-caffeinated. Do you ever get over-caffeinated?
Oh, trust me. You know my background.
Yeah, that's what's happened.
Coffee aficionado.
Well, I woke up a little later, and then I need to go wake up, and maybe overdid it, but that's fine. Anyway, call my friend Jeff at 817-781-0546. Also, my friend Rod Lewis over at the Burleson News Express. This week's issue was on Saturday's parade, and that's another thing to be grateful for. Saturday, we're going to have the Lions Club is going to do the 4th of July parade. Sandy Mason will be there with his American Legion friends, and about 2 years ago, he honored me with being one of their guests on their float, their ride. And I brought my picture of my dad, who was still with us at that time, but he was in no shape to be able to go to a parade. But I brought a picture of my dad in his Ranger jumper uniform. And it was just a really great thing to see the community come out and whatnot. And then, of course, there's candy involved in all this. Hotter than the Dickens, so be there, get a shady spot. But anyway, back to Rod Lewis. If you got a story you'd like to tell, or if you want to find out what's going on, pick up a copy of about 54 different realtors. Well, you can do that too, but retail outlets. Also, my friends at True Climate Heating and Cooling, 682-244-2019. Will Cobb and his sister Emily Cobb will take care of you. You need to get your HVAC inspected because it's getting hot, and you just think we'll crank it and turn it on. On a side note, Josh, have you seen how these Europeans are glorifying in air conditioning?
Yes.
Yeah,
air conditioning.
Air conditioning, yes. And we just, we bellyache if we don't have it on high enough. They don't have it at all in a lot of cases. And our friends over in France in particular, and they're like, Americans and their air conditioning. Now they wish they had it. But anyway, can you imagine where Texas would be if we didn't have air conditioning?
Oh, inhospitable.
Inhospitable,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I read a lot about history, as you may know, and I've been reading a lot about the 19th century Texas, for a lot of reasons. And I'm just amazed. I mean, they had no air conditioning, and they're out there in full gear and all this other stuff. I don't know how they survived.
Leather, everything.
Yeah, and it's just amazing to me.
Well, I mean, of course, life expectancy back then was what, 50 something.
Well, something like that, yeah. But maybe the heat had something to do with that. Maybe it was the fact that we drank about 2 gallons of booze every week. That was part of it too.
Yeah,
but
yeah, potato.
Yeah, okay. There's Aaron. How you doing, Mr. Ash? You doing good? If you want to jump in and tell us what you like about America, come on in. I'm going to start off with kind of a negative note in a sense, because one of the things that's been distressing me in our public politics lately, on both sides of the issue, is just something we've talked about many, many times before, is just the hostility and invective that people have towards each other. But you get away from that element of our society. You get away from the politics and the politicians. America's still a pretty friendly place, and the Europeans had to remind us of that. Go ahead and show that slide. This woman here is going to be a candidate for Congress in the city of New York, and she's going to win because she's in a very, very blue district. And her name is, I'm going to get this name right, Daria Lisa Chevalier. I didn't mean to intentionally mispronounce her name, but there you are. Daria Lisa Chevalier. And this is what she says about America. She says, quote, "I forgot to get napkins, so I just wiped my hand on the American flag," and she wants to represent this country. And she, as you can read here, what you called America was an effing disgrace, that she wants to have these very radical positions. She called Joe Biden a war criminal. Okay, Joe Biden, are you kidding me? And she's going to represent that area of New York in the Congress because there's not going to even be a Republican candidate. And there may be an independent, but that won't win. I contrast that to what these Europeans are saying about this country. There's the one that I really liked about this European driving around and how much he loves America. Do you have that one loaded up?
Yes, it's a 33% chance that I get the one right.
Well, we got 3 videos, and they're all good. So let's see what we got here. That's the one.
I'm even getting cold air blowing up my bottom. I love being in America.
Hey, what can I get for you?
Hey, can we get a small mint chocolate shake? Will that work?
Yes.
Awesome. That's a small? Hey, thank you.
You find out that America has free refills?
I can refill.
Yeah. You want 1 Coke Zero or 2?
I can refill this 1,000 times.
Yeah, but you won't drink 1,000 cups of
You don't know
Coca-Cola.
me.
Plate of nachos there.
So heavy. It's so heavy. Why is it so heavy?
Here's a burrito.
Fanta pudding?
I know.
Are you guys serious?
I know.
Ugh.
Okay. I kind of agree. Fanta pudding didn't do it for me either. But, I mean, you contrast that with somebody who wants to represent this country to these people come visit us. And, do we even think about air conditioning until we don't have it? I'd go get in the car after the show. I'd go turn my air conditioner on. If I don't have it, the world comes to an end, right?
Oh, yeah.
But, we have cool air everywhere we go. And then you talk about the sizes, they joke about America and being obese. Well, okay, but they come over here and they eat like Americans, to say the least.
Yeah.
And they had all these visions of, these huge platefuls of food.
Yeah, it's all jokes until you get a plate of nachos the size of your head. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. And that young girl, if you're listening to this and not watching, she pulls out a burrito the size of a football, and they're stunned by that. All right, let's try another one. You pick them as you got them.
Some pew-pews here? Yeah, man.
This guy's looking at guns.
I know, it's crazy.
So you just take one?
Yeah.
Well, our transport back to the motel is an American school bus. No, because I'm actually living my childhood dream right now.
This is a serving of honey in our local country.
Small packet.
And this is a serving of honey in America. I
Big
think
jar.
it's the same price. Ridiculous, isn't it?
You forgot your money.
No, that's the tip.
What do you mean? We already paid.
No, you have to tip 25%.
25%?
So big.
Yeah, she's walking into Buc-ee's.
How far back does this go?
The world came to the U.S. for soccer. All the things that people make fun of America for, they got here and absolutely loved it.
American hospitality is just people trying to destroy you with kindness and melted cheese. And don't get me started on the free refills. All I'm saying is there's going to be a lot of Scotsmen getting their kilts remeasured when they get back to Scotland.
I had an experience like that with
getting your kilt remeasured?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Believe me, I could use that. But about 2 weeks ago, it was Wednesday 2 weeks ago, is the day that England and the Czech Republic, whatever they call themselves now, they played their game in Dallas. All right. And I'm in Corsicana visiting my mother. And my wife and sister, my wife and daughter and I are leaving around 7:30. And we're going up 45 to hit 287. And of course, the women say, we need to go to Buc-ee's. What's the 2 reasons to go to Buc-ee's?
Snacks in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's right. Brisket and toilets, right?
Yep.
Well, we didn't go there for the brisket. Anyway, so we go in there and they're doing their thing, and I get a bottle of water, and I'm kind of hanging on around the front door, waiting for them to come up. And I see several people in Czech uniform shirts, they have red and white checkered shirts. And I'm standing at the counter, and this Czech couple and a little girl comes up, and I said, well, hey, how you enjoying Texas? And the woman looks at her husband, and the husband looks at her, because they didn't know English that well. And I just welcome to Texas. And they go, thank you. It's probably the limited English they knew. And there's all these others wandering around, and I'm standing, and these 2 bigger guys, 2 Czechs, come walking in, and their mouths drop open. Literally, they're like, oh my God, look at this. This is a gas station. I mean, they have gas stations that have like small little grocery outlets connected to it, like a 7-Eleven type thing over in Scotland and other places where most of my experience has been. But they walk the gas station. Buc-ee's is like bigger than their supermarkets. You know, you've been to Buc-ee's, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The first time I went was about 5 years ago, and I was stunned myself, and I'm used to these things. It's all the stuff, right?
It's the seventh wonder of the world.
It is. And these foreigners that come in, and they're looking around, and there's like, this is a gas station. Furthermore, they were stunned at the price of gas. Now, we have been too, but for the wrong other reasons, right? We get been out of shape. It's $3.79. Time for anarchy. $3.79 is a bargain for them. It's about half their average gallon of gas. And so I just thought that was a really great experience to compare. I mean, we walk into Buc-ee's, we're impressed. So we've seen it, right? We go to H-E-B. We go to the Walmart.
Yeah, you got a super Target right down the road.
Yeah.
From wherever you need to live.
Right.
Come on.
And it's like, no big deal. But you take somebody that lives in even these European countries that have, strong economies or high economies anyway, and it stuns them because it's like, how much do y'all really need, this other stuff? There's one more, I believe. There's the Norwegians rowing. Yeah. And they're doing that rowing. In fact, Norway plays in about 20 minutes. Yep. The bagpipes.
Your defense is terrified. Scotland's on fire. Your defense is terrified. Scotland's on fire.
There's English at Texas Rodeo, the Mesquite Rodeo. I'd like to have been there for that.
Oh, yeah.
See what English folks think of rodeo. That must have stunned them. I don't know if they even have anything remotely like rodeo. All they got over there in Scotland is, you ever see tossing the caber? You know what that is?
Yes.
What is it?
I think I've heard of it.
Give it a shot. What do you think it is? Go ahead.
2 seconds.
Oh, no.
I'm not gonna Google it. What is it?
It's tossing this big, heavy log. It's not like a javelin. I mean, you have to, heave it from, your waist, like an underhand granny basketball shot and see how far you can toss it.
Yeah, they got to get over like a bar, like a high jump bar, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay.
And it's, who could toss it the highest over the bar and that kind of thing. And I'll just kind of go in the background a little bit. I've been to Scotland. It's been a long time. And it's a great country. I'll go back again. But I tell you what, I have still have connections there in Scotland. And they have serious, serious problems. And we get so focused here in America, we're unhappy with our education system. We're unhappy with our healthcare system. Or we're unhappy with the quality of our governing, which I'm right there with them on that one. Because I showed you that clip or that slide at the beginning. We have people that hate America that wants to run it. All right. And I say that from both sides of the aisle, honestly. But the point is that they have significant problems. And they come here and they've been told by their governments, well, at least you're not in America kind of thing. I couldn't find it, but there was a clip I saw of this Australian guy, and he was mad in a sense. He says, our government's been lying to us. It's great over here. He's on a beach and he's got a beer and all this other stuff, and they got beaches in Australia. Yeah, but he's like, this is great. It's a great place. We've been lied to by our country because the politicians over there that try to distract from what's going on in their countries quite often will say, well, look at the crime in America. Look at the problem. They don't have public health care over there. You have to actually have to have private insurance and all this other stuff. Yet what's happening in Europe, the liberals in this country need to pay attention to. Okay? Particularly the Democrat Socialists of America. They want to impose certain things that Europe has, but if you ask a lot of the Europeans, they don't want it anymore. The British are almost at the point of revolution about their healthcare system. I'm not just getting this from what I read. I got this from my acquaintance over in Scotland. They said their healthcare system is so dysfunctional that people are unnecessarily dying or remaining sick. And it's, publicly provided. You know what is a major source of illegal immigration in this country? Canadians coming south to try to get medical treatment. All right? People don't realize that. They got, free medical care, but they come down here for the heavy duty stuff. My friend told me there's like a 6-month waiting list for just a small issue. If you have a bigger issue, they'll put you on the 3-month waiting list. People die in Britain waiting for medical treatment, and that's one of the most prosperous countries. Well, not prosperous, but one of the most advanced countries in the world. Ask the French what they think about their education system, and you're going to get the French version of a dog cussing. I mean, they hate it. And that's one reason why these political movements all throughout Europe are rejecting some of the socialist left-wing ideologies. The most resurgent political party in Britain is the Reform Party, which is the opposition's trying to paint their leader, Nigel Farage, as a British version of Trump. Well, he's not, but they're trying to make him look like one to preserve their own power. But the Conservative Party is probably almost extinct, and the Labour Party had the worst off-year elections they've had in their history about a month ago, because people are rejecting what's going on in their countries. Sweden, everybody points out to Sweden, or at least they used to, as a great socialist model. Yet they tax their wealthy less than we do. All right, they tax their middle class more than we do. But their overall tax rates are lower in most areas of the country than, well, let me rephrase because I kind of messed that up. The Swedish tax rates are lower than what the majority of Americans pay, unless you live in New York, California, Illinois, or something like that, where you have tremendously high state taxes. The average Swede is taxed at lower rates than most Americans. And as far as them being this beacon of immigration, do you think we have problems with ICE and all that? They're actively deporting their citizens. You don't hear that from Bernie Sanders after all these years of pointing to them as the socialist model. Same thing with Norway, same thing with Denmark. They're all retreating from those highly socialist positions. Italy, their strongest political movement also is conservative, so to speak. Or, when I say conservative and liberal, it really doesn't apply as easily over there as it does over here. So that's why I don't really use those terms for European governments, because it's not a one-to-one comparison. But we're talking about politicians that are getting ahead because they're taking advantage, or they're supporting the people that look at their countries and say that we can't continue down this road anymore. Germany, same thing. I mean, this has been going on for a couple of years now. I've been reading about this, the right wing, as they call it in the liberal press here, but the conservative or the non-socialist movements in these countries are resurgent and all across Europe because their systems aren't working. For example, here's a question for you. If Britain was an American state, how would they rank in terms of median income? You want to try it? Take a guess at that?
Median income.
Median income. The average income.
Out of what would now be 51 states?
Yes.
Let's say lower to mid 40s?
It'd be 51.
It'd be 51.
Yeah,
wow.
They're lower than Mississippi.
Good night.
Yeah, and not by just $1 or $2. I mean, by a bunch. There isn't a European country whose median income matches Mississippi's. Mississippi's our poorest state and always has been. It seems like, even though I've been reading a lot about how they massively improved their education system by just going back to the basics. Now, Mississippi has much higher test results on their education than California does. California is one of the worst. All right, every country in Europe would be the 51st state if you talk about median income. Now, you get these apologists that say, well, yeah, but look at the services they have. Look at the, look at all the things the government provides them. Well, yeah. As I just described, a lot of people are very unhappy with the quality of what they're getting. Yeah, so sure, I read this idiot Paul Krugman. I can't stand him, but I read him because I got to keep informed. And he says, well, the Europeans actually have a better lifestyle because of all the government services. Well, if you consider it a better lifestyle to be basically carried by the government, then have at it, all right? But when these people come here to the United States and they're gushing about free refills, another thing that, just kind of a side note, that really got particularly the English and the Scots excited, ranch dressing. You ever read about that?
Yeah.
They think it's like the food of the gods. And and the thing is, they want to ship it back home, but they can't take it with them on the airplanes because of the bottle size issues. So they're trying to find ways they could ship ranch dressing to their hometowns. I would not be surprised within a month or so, Scottish grocery stores have ranch dressing in it. All right, and we talked about the ice machines on every hotel floor. They were stunned by that. They don't even have ice machines. And we talked about the air conditioning. Europe is having the worst heat wave they've ever had before in the last century or so. And this is no joke. Over 1,200 French people across the country have died of heat-related situations. Why? Because they don't have air conditioning, and they can't get it. Their governments won't let them have it. All right, we're not talking about they can't afford it. Whether they can afford it or not is not even the issue. Their governments won't let them get air conditioning. How do you feel about that? How would you feel about if, Greg Abbott told you, Josh, no air conditioning for you? Did you have something to say, would you?
I would, but...
Okay, let's hear the other side.
I mean, there's a difference between, what's the high today? Like 102?
Yeah. It's hot enough.
Hot enough.
Yeah.
High at 95, heat index of 99.
Okay.
Into Celsius, that is 30, 31 Celsius. Let's say off the top of my head.
It's still hot.
Still hot. Still hot. It is hotter here in Texas, temperature wise, but there being no AC means you can feel it on an 82 degree day.
Right. Oh yeah.
And that's the average heat wave in Europe.
Oh yeah.
You see them posting. It's like, it's 27 Celsius outside. The high is 87. Yeah, and we think, that's not bad. It's 103 here yesterday.
Yeah.
But
it's like 95 in Paris right now.
It's not. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. When I was in Scotland my second time, I went in about early June, and it got up to 82 degrees. And I'm thinking this is a day in October. My friends are all getting sunburned, and they were like, "This is so hot." And my niece, and this is it's not just Europeans. My niece, for a year, taught in Alaska, and most of her students were, I forget what particular tribe, but they were natives. All right, they were Eskimos, but they don't use that term anymore. And she took them outside for something. And it was like 80 degrees, and they were dying. Let's go back inside because they weren't used to it. But you go over there in Europe, and their houses are built much tighter, and they don't have the kind of situation that we do. Like we have more open floor designs and whatever else, and so they're stifling. And they don't have air. It's not just home air conditioning. They don't have air conditioning in their schools. They don't have it in many of their hospitals. They don't have it in many of or any of their retail establishments. And so it's not like you can dip inside someplace and get cooled off. There's no place to go in Paris because they don't have it. And, and a lot of them have these zinc tile roofs. And what
just turns into a greenhouse, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. What happens is on the top floors, the interior temperature can get over 120 degrees. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
And you say, well, why don't they get air conditioning? Their government won't let them have it because it says it's bad for the environment. And I think also there's some anti-American bias there because we're so soft and pampered with air conditioning. But
would it have anything to do with the power grid as well?
No, not really.
I've heard arguments for like, oh, well, if we put air conditioning in every home, then that'll destroy the power grid that we have or the infrastructure or whatever.
No, I haven't seen that argument at all in any of the articles I've read. The reason why the government doesn't like it, is the environment issues. It also ruins the aesthetics of the Paris skyline. They don't want to see a bunch of, air conditioning machines on their roofs like we have.
Yeah.
Or air conditioning machines outside their buildings like we have. They think it's tacky and American. And the thing is, you go to Scotland, they don't have it there either because they don't really need it. Now they do. But if I wanted an air conditioning unit in Scotland, I could get one. In Paris, you have to have government permission, and it's very hard to get. And if I'm a landlord there, it's impossible. So if I have like an apartment complex and I want to put air conditioning units in it, they won't let me do it because what would happen is all the other landlords would have to do it, and they don't want that. So the people just sweat. And like I said, a lot of them are dying, and it's a serious story. But it's just we don't really consider that we have heat-related deaths in the United States, and they make the news. Why? Because it's not that common. We have more people that die of I don't know, shark bites than we do of heat-related deaths. So I kind of got off on the tangent about the air conditioning, but it's one of those things that we don't even think about, And if we have a problem, we call True Climate, and they come fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other things. Another thing is space. We have space. We have elbow room, all right? The average starter home in the United States is 1,800 square feet. The average starter home in Europe, if they can get one, is 1,100 square feet. All right. The average home in the United States is 2,300 square feet. In Europe, it's like 1,300. And it doesn't really matter how many kids you got. That's the space you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I've stayed over there. And you stayed. You said you went to Poland?
Yes. I was in Poland. I was in Krakow and Szczecin for about 2 weeks.
Yeah. And you're not talking about the end of the world, right? Ed.
It was. I liked it.
Yeah. It's.
I didn't. I will say I stayed in hostels most of the time.
Yeah.
But, if I could kind of chime in here about the lack of space, one thing that I really fell in love with whenever I was in Poland was the high density infrastructure. Believe it or not, I liked the concept of I'm on this side of town and I want to go to a coffee shop on the other side of town. Well, I live on, let's say west side of Fort Worth, and the coffee shop I want to go to is on the east side of Fort Worth. Well, that's a 45-minute drive. But in Krakow, it's like, hey, let's go to this coffee shop across town. It's a 10-minute walk or a 5-minute bike ride.
Okay, I know, I get that.
You get some cool exercise. You get to walk down to the grocery store and pick up some food. I like that, and I don't like driving.
Well, I don't like driving either, to tell you the truth. And I get it. I mean, I really do, because that's why a lot of people like the city, because they like that kind of environment of, having things nearby and walk to. I love it. I know that one of the purposes of Old Town is that, they eventually want to create more living spaces around it so people could walk to, Grumps or Frescoes, whatever, and that's great. But on the other hand, why do people that, your age, you love that kind of environment, you get married, you have a couple kids, what do you start thinking about? Moving to the suburbs.
Yeah.
All right.
It's getting a little cramped in this studio apartment for sure.
Sure. I mean, when you're, I fully get it. When I was younger and it was just Robin and I thought, and they were starting to develop all those living spaces in downtown Fort Worth around Sundance Square, I thought that'd be kind of cool. You live on the 3rd or 4th floor, you got some space, you have a nice view, you can go down and, there's, at the time they had a grocery store, small one there on the corner of, I think, 3rd and, I want to say Houston, but I'm not sure. It's around that area, okay? Oh, it's 3rd and Throckmorton. That's what it is. And there's a like a pizza joint that I like down there, and all this other stuff. And I could do all that urban
Starbucks
scene.
on every other block.
Yeah, or maybe an independent coffee shop.
Yeah,
Thompson.
Those ones are my favorite.
Yeah, Thompson's Bar. Well,
I love Thompson's.
You know Thompson's?
Love Thompson's. Mm-hmm. Especially since they opened up that cigar lounge.
Yes, exactly right. My buddy and I.
Big fan of that one.
Yes, that's where we go. And I had to, strip down in the garage because Robin didn't like the smell. but I get it. And that's kind of the purpose of Old Town, is to provide that. But, when we're done with Old Town, what do? You go back to your house and your yard.
Yep.
That's another thing the Europeans were noticing, was all the space. I think the best thing that happened for the American World Cup is that we have games in Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Atlanta, other than just L.A. or New York.
L.A., New York, Chicago.
Well, Chicago didn't have any.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want them.
Yeah, for real.
I don't understand that at all, but Chicago is so badly mismanaged, I could do a whole show on that. But the point is that...
Next week.
But what's happened is most of these people are... they're not flying from Dallas to Houston. They're renting vans or cars, and they're driving, and they're seeing America. I mean, real America, not just, New York or L.A. And so they're stopping in Buc-ee's and Ennis,
mm-hmm.
and they're seeing this is what Americans are really like. And they said that, and I'm reading over and over again all these articles, just how casually friendly the Americans are.
Yeah.
This one French guy says, people come up to me I don't even know and tell me hello. In France, we'd probably hit them, because we don't talk to each other on the street, strangers. And people come up, hey, how you doing? And it's just casual with us.
Yeah, Southern hospitality.
Yeah, we don't even think about it.
Also, kind of on that topic I mentioned in the pre-show, I think it was I want to say it was the Japanese team. In Grapevine. Posting on Twitter about how this is the cutest American small town I've ever did. I want to move here. It's quite hilarious.
Well, I've
driven through Grapevine a few times, and my only thought was, get me out of Grapevine.
You don't go to the main street on Grapevine?
I have a couple of times, and that is good. I have a friend who does a coffee shop pop up there every once or twice a month.
Well, I may have seen it because my wife loves Grapevine Main Street. She and her sister will go to those little boutiques and whatever else, and I'll go with them some. And they have a really nice little Italian joint, Napoli's, which is good standard Italian stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they have another place called Fiero's, which you get flatbread pizza and some wine. And they have a couple of wine shops and tasting shops and stuff like that. And it's great. It's good and you can get there by train now. You get on the Tex rail and there's a stop in Grapevine. But they just marvel at that. And I'm reading over and over again these caravans of fans, in their rented cars and vans or whatever. They're going from Kansas City to say the next match is in Los Angeles. And they just this is America. This is fantastic. Look at all this space. And we take that for granted. And the thing is, you mentioned about the urban thing, the urban density and all that. That's great, but you have a choice, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to admit that the grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, if you were, still a young man, you live in that kind of situation, it'd be fun. But you wouldn't want to raise children.
No.
And so,
as soon as, or I should rather say, if I do have children, I would.
Listen to you. Is that still a debatable topic? Is it
not on the radar right now?
Okay, that's good. Well, don't rush into it. So, I was 30 and 33 when I was became father. So
I'm turning 30 this year.
Okay, well
I'll do all right. It'll be fine.
And there, a couple other things that they noticed. We joke about the free refills and all this other stuff, but the thing that they noticed in the grocery stores is not just the portions at the restaurants are bigger, but the huge selection. You go into a Scottish grocery store. I mean, what they call a supermarket. It's about the size of what City Market used to be. That's
basically a corner store.
Yeah. I mean, City Market, would be like a hyper Walmart to a lot of these areas. And, you know,
the city market.
Well, I miss it, but I understand what happened there.
Yeah.
So,
topic for another show. Continue.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, but you walk in there and said, I want a can of beans. Well, you got 19 to choose from. All right. You go to your typical store in Europe and you got about 5. And, you know, this is a side note. I remember about 2 years ago, Bernie Sanders was criticizing that in the American capitalist market, all the numbers of choices. Says you don't need 19 or 20 different deodorants to choose from. And I'm thinking, you stupid, who are you to say that? I'll have as many deodorants to choose from as I want. You know, AOC said something similar. You don't need to be eating hamburgers all the time. Well, that's not her call. Yeah, I could talk about the health issues, but if I want to eat a hamburger 3 times a day, by golly, it's none of her cotton picking business. There, I feel better. You know what I'm saying? But I think we kind of lose track because we get so dialed in on, you know, what's the latest Trump outrage, or what knucklehead thing did Nancy Pelosi say, or what these yahoos on Facebook said, or what these people I never heard of said on Twitter that was insulting to me personally. You know, we get so focused on that, and we think this country's crap, man. Or as you kids say, I don't want to say what you kids say, it's even worse. But
I might have to find the other sound effect for that one.
Yeah, the beep. Anyway, but you know, we got people like this woman I showed at the beginning saying we're an effing disgrace. No, we're not. You know what the thing is? She could say that, and what's going to happen to her? She gets criticized on Twitter, and that's it? Big deal. You know what I'm saying? Well, if she said something like that in other countries in the world, she'd be doing time in whatever prisons they have. And I'm not even talking about communists. You know, in Britain and in Canada, they have very strong rules against evangelism because they could consider that hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy. You know, you right before the show, you had that what was her name? Sharon Boland, is that who it was?
Yeah, it's correct.
And she's, and I walk in, or about to walk in, and she's praying. And I thought she was yelling at you, frankly, but you know, she was praying, and it was from what I heard, it was, you know, a prayer of praise. It wasn't like, you know, anything controversial.
No.
Yeah,
but she does put her heart into it.
Yeah, but it was, you know, she had a lot of, you know, emphasis in it. But it was a prayer of praise. That kind of stuff can get you in trouble, even in European countries, and that's just astounding to me. And as far as other rights, you know, we can talk about all religion, guns, you know, protection from the police. They don't have a Fourth Amendment in
Free
Britain.
Speech,
Yeah. There's no Fourth Amendment in France, you know, to protect you against search and seizures. All right. There's another one. Italy has this. I don't know if the other Europeans do, but let's say that you are accused of a crime and you are exonerated. What happens after that here in America? You walk out the door, right?
Yeah. Put back into the system.
Right. You can just go about your business. Italy, they can retry you. All right? They could retry you. And this is what's happened with this high-profile American girl who they accused of killing somebody. She got acquitted. They tried her again. And we're thinking, wait a minute, that violates double jeopardy. Well, we don't have that in Italy, so shut up.
Mm-hmm.
So... you know, so we don't even think about those things. And then today we had the Supreme Court rulings, and some people are unhappy and some people are happy. But we have a system in which we're going to abide by those rulings. I mean, there'll be a few outliers, of course, that refuse, but most Americans are going to deal with it. And so, you know, in France, if you don't like the government, you don't pay taxes. You know what happens to them if you don't pay taxes? Not a zip doodah. You don't pay taxes here. You may get away with it for some years, but you get caught and you have a real problem. But it's, you know, so there you go. So they're, you know, on and on and on. So I'm going to kind of wrap this up a little bit. I highly encourage people to go visit other countries. And I would advise, I would hope they take a humble attitude with them instead of going over there and say, well, it's all better in America. Well, that may or may not be true. Probably is true. But so what? Who wants to hear that? You're not going to, Germany to say how much better it is here in Texas. You're going to Germany to eat sausage, drink beer, see the sights, right?
Amen.
Yeah, you're not there to be the snotty American. If you want to go to Italy, you want to go to, I don't know, northern part of Italy. You want to see these, Vienna or in Austria, or you want to see, I don't know, if you can afford Switzerland or something like that. You don't want to go over there and be a snot. You want to go over there and enjoy the culture. But we should also go there with the understanding that we got a pretty good culture too. And we spend too much time worrying about or trashing it, particularly in social media with these keyboard warriors under anonymous pseudonyms try to make you think that, the world's coming to an end because they didn't get pudding with their lunch or something like that. We have a great, great country. We have significant problems, but that doesn't mean the American people aren't great people. Yes, we can all think of some guy over here or some guy over there that's a creep or a whatever you want to call him, but Americans really are a pretty great people. And I could segue into that by saying of all the nonprofits we have here in Burleson, in Crowley, and now I'm finding out some more about Joshua and Cleburne. The food pantries still need your help, and they're getting it. I talked to my friends over at Promises. Yeah, and they got a whole lot of food going out the door, but so far they're keeping pace with food coming in the door. And it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the only reason they can do that is because either people give them groceries or they give them money to buy groceries to keep going. Same with Harvest House, same with these others. Could they do more? They'd like to do more. But, yesterday I had Rich Hooper on, the 88.3 The Journey. And, it's a nonprofit. They could use some help, and he's going to get it. He got it, some of it. And, I don't know, but I can't speak as to the charities of Britain or France or Germany. I don't have any information about that, how generous or non-generous they are. But I just know about here, we have a whole lot of people that work for the good of this community and good for this state and good of this country. People like Next Step. I think I have them on about 10 days from now, or a couple weeks. And that to me is real America. And it's also these small, generous little acts of kindness that most people don't ever hear about. And the Europeans noticed that. All right, they noticed that. I read about stories about people that don't speak English very well getting assisted by Americans trying to help them find where they're going or what they're looking for, things of that nature. And nobody gives, that snotty attitude. You should have learned English. No, it's all right. Speaking of which, I was making a joke on Facebook last night. Do you watch any of this soccer?
When it's on, I don't have all the sports streaming services, so I don't catch every game.
There's a bunch. Well, most of the games are on Fox or Fox FS1, so they're fairly accessible. Last night or yesterday afternoon, watching Japan and Brazil, and they were disputing a call with the ref. So you had this Japanese player and this Brazilian player arguing with the Italian referee. What language are they arguing in? Yeah, that's a good. What do you?
That's a good question.
Yeah, well,
trying to think of some obscure.
Yeah. Well,
Hungarian.
they said all the referees, I was told on Facebook, have to know English.
Yeah.
And a lot of these players play in England or America, so they have English. But I just thought it was funny. I'm watching this Brazilian and Japanese, the two captains, arguing with the Italian ref, and so a little. I wonder what they're saying. What? Trying to,
The Tower of Babel. All
yeah,
over
there you go. There you go. See, you're making good progress over there. You really are.
I know about the Tower of Babel.
Okay. All right. Let's see what I got. We're going to take Monday off next week, all right?
Just Monday?
Just Monday, I think. Let's see. I'm going to see what I have. Oops. Hit the...
Yeah, you need a little break. It's been,
what
is it, 7 years now?
It'll be 7 years the day after Labor Day.
All right.
All right.
Up.
Yeah, let's see.
Have a big celebration for that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll do something. We'll drink on the air. How about that?
Ooh, I'm down.
Yeah, I thought you might be. Okay, I'm trying to find the right. There's the right app. I have so many apps. All right, so we'll take Monday off, and then maybe that'll be the 7th. We'll come back a week from today. Will be the 7th. Maybe then I'll have some news about Iran. I don't have a guest lined up yet, but I have in July. I have the mayor. I have Victoria. I have Next Step. I have Kim Jones again. I always enjoy that, learning about what's going on in the tax system and whatever else. Also, we had Bailey Mullins on about a week ago. We're going to have him on again in about 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I still got a couple of openings, so I'll be tracking them down. Who knows what's going to be happening in Iran a week from now anyway, so that's what I really thought I was going to do that.
It's changing by the hour, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, 2 or 3 days ago. What am I going to talk about on Tuesday? And then I started reading all these stories about these Europeans and how just astounded they are. Aaron Ash says, Monday is my birthday. He'll be 43 years old. You're just a rookie. You're just a kid. I turned 64 on Saturday, and I feel it.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.
Yeah, 64. I have one more year, and I could be on the government payroll, so to speak. And I'll complain about Medicare. I don't get good care. Actually, my mom and dad were both on Medicare, and it worked out pretty well for them. So we didn't have any of the issues that you read about in Britain. All right. I feel better. I just ranted. I just rambled. I just riffed.
Yeah, you needed this. It's been a minute.
It's been a while since I've been, without guests, which is fine. I prefer guests most of the time because, they do all the talking and I can just sit there and nod and go, you're wonderful. But I don't know. I've also had people say I need to do more of these because, they want to hear about what's going on in the world. And I will. Next Tuesday, we'll talk about Iran. We'll talk about the Supreme Court.
Yeah, some variety is always nice. Right?
Yeah. So what do you got planned for the 4th?
Nothing much.
Neither do I.
I don't have a whole lot of options. My options are either I pay $50 for parking to sit on somewhere in downtown and watch fireworks from 3 miles away and then drive home on some of the drunkest roads since New Year's Eve, or I stay home and watch a movie. So I'm taking the latter.
Have you not been listening to this show, to all the great things, though? How many Europeans would love to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
My point.
That's your point. That's your point. And I've experienced that one too many times in my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with opening up a window and watching the fireworks from my apartment.
I used to do, watch the fireworks rather when my kids are younger, but they're gone and grown and moved on. And so now I just stay inside. There's going to be baseball, hopefully. There's going to be soccer. There's going to be lots of things. What is this, a great country or what? You know what line that's from? There's a movie.
No.
Nice. So you wouldn't have seen it. No, it's from Night Shift from about 40 years ago. You ever seen Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton? You got to watch it. It's a funny early 80s movie.
I'll throw that on the list.
Yeah, and basically it's about these two morgue workers who turn their morgue into a house of ill repute. Okay, they become pimps. and Henry's like, what's the matter? We are making money off women having sex with strange men. And Michael Keaton goes, is this a great country or what? Oh, Robin won't listen to that one. Anyway, y'all have a good 4th of July. Remember the good things. And, and the small things, we could talk about the freedom of speech. We can talk about all those things, and that's all worthy. But next time you go get a refill, or the lady at our place comes and refills your cup of coffee without you even asking, or the next time you can get a whole glass of ice to go with your tea instead of just a couple of cubes, which is what you get if you ask for ice in your Coke in Britain. You get a cube. That ain't nice, And the next time, you say, man, this is hot. I'm going inside, and I'm cooled off. Next time you put ranch dressing on your pizza, which I think is a strange thing, but it's your right. Think about how great this country is. You put ranch dressing on your pizza? Okay.
Every now and again.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well,
it's good. It's for the crust. You dip the crust in the ranch, and it's good. Don't knock it till you rock it, okay?
No. Ooh. That's from my generation. Okay. Anyway, we'll see y'all. Y'all take care. Have a good 4th. Love on each other. Hug their necks. Say hey to your family. Be nice because, this is a great, we should look on the good things that we do have in this country and the good things in this world. And we will see y'all next week.